Dracula wanted to know which of his bats was the best, so he organized a little competition. The bat which would drink more blood in less time than others would be the winner. The first bat went and came back after 10 minutes. Its mouth was full of blood. Dracula was impressed. He asked, "Nice, how did you do it?" The bat said, "Do you see that tower? Behind it, there is a house. I went inside and drank the blood of all the family." Dracula said, "Very good." The second bat went and came back after 5 minutes. He too had blood on all his face. Dracula was shocked. "How did you do that?" The bat said, "Do you see that tower? Behind it, there is a hotel. I went inside and drank the blood of all the guests." Dracula said, "Fantastic." Now, the third bat went and came back just after 1 minute. There was blood on all his body. Dracula couldn't believe his eyes. "How did you do that?" The bat said, "Do you see that tower?" Dracula said, "Yes." And the bat said, "I didn't see it." A guy goes to a farmer and says, "Hey there, sir. I heard you had some honeysuckle in your pasture. You mind if I go back there and grab a few buckets of honey for myself?" Farmer says, "Well, that ain't how that works, but you can try." Few hours later, the man comes back with 2 buckets full up with honey. Some days later, the man comes back with 2 empty buckets. "Hey, farmer, I heard you got some milkweed back there. Mind if I go gather some milk?" Farmer says, "Well, that ain't how that works, but you can go try." Few hours later, the man walks back with 2 buckets of milk. The farmer thinks, "Well, I be danged." A week later, the man comes back to the farmer and says, "Sir, I heard you had some pussy willow back there behind your house," and the farmer cuts the man off mid-sentence and says, "Oh, not this time. I'm coming with you." A few hours later, the man walks back with a couple of cats in his buckets and a very angry farmer following behind. A man hitches a ride with a trucker. Oddly enough, a monkey is seated in between the two of them. After about 5 minutes of small talk, the hitchhiker finally felt comfortable enough to ask, "So what's with the monkey?" "Watch this," said the trucker. He then smacked the monkey on the forehead. The monkey immediately unzipped the trucker's pants, gave the trucker a blow, zipped the trucker's pants back up, and got back in his seat. "Wow, that looks amazing," exclaimed the hitchhiker. "Do you want to give it a try?" said the trucker. The hitchhiker paused. "Absolutely. Just please don't hit me as hard as you hit the monkey." An engineer dies and goes to St. Peter, who can't find his name in the book of heaven. The engineer, surprised, asks him to check again. St. Peter checks again and says, "I'm sorry, you're going to have to meet your final beckoning below." The engineer thinks this is wrong and reluctantly goes down below. A month goes by, and as a routine, God calls down to the devil to see how everything is. The devil says, "Everything is fantastic. We love that engineer you sent us." God says, "What engineer?" "That engineer you sent us a month ago. He's fantastic. Because of him, the smoke has all been cleared up. We got an escalator, and soon we're going to have air conditioning." God says, "Wait, that's a mistake. You weren't supposed to get that engineer. You got to send him back." To which the devil replies, "No way, we love him. If you don't send him back, we're going to sue you." The devil replies, "Oh yeah, with what lawyers?" A young woman on a flight asked the priest beside her, "Father, may I ask a favor?" "Of course, child. What may I do for you?" "Well, I bought my mother an expensive hairdryer for her birthday. It is unopened, but well over the customs limits, and I'm afraid they'll confiscate it. Would you carry it through customs for me? Hide it under your robes, perhaps?" "I would love to help you, dear, but I must warn you, I will not lie." "With your honest face, Father, no one will question you," she replied. When they got to customs, she let the priest go first. The official asked, "Father, do you have anything to declare?" "From the top of my head down to my waist, I have nothing to declare." The official thought this answer strange, so asked, "And what do you have to declare from your waist to the floor?" Father replied, "I have a marvelous instrument designed to be used on a woman, which is, to date, unused." Roaring with laughter, the official said, "Go ahead, Father. Next, please." A guy gets too drunk while playing golf and forgets what hole he's on. He sees a woman ahead of him and yells, "What hole am I on?" She says, "You must be on the hole behind me, and I'm on 5, so you must be on 4. He plays a few holes and forgets again. He sees her and yells, "Hey, what hole am I on now?" She says, You're on the hole behind me, and I'm on 12, so you must be on 11. He eventually finishes and goes to the clubhouse bar for one last beer. He sees the woman, thanks her for the help, and asks what she does. It's kind of embarrassing, please don't laugh, but I sell menstrual supplies. The man starts laughing hysterically, and she glares at him, obviously upset at his laughing. No, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at what you do, he says. It's just that I sell toilet paper, so once again I'm on the hole behind you. An Irish daughter had not been home for over 5 years. Upon her return, her father cursed her heavily. Where have you been all this time? Why did you not write? Why didn't you call? You know what you put your old mother through. The girl, crying, replied, Dad, I became a prostitute. You what? Get out of here, you shameless harlot sinner. You're a disgrace to this Catholic family. Okay, Dad, as you wish. I only came back to give Mom this luxurious fur coat plus a $5 million savings certificate. For my little brother, this gold Rolex. And for you, Daddy, the new Mercedes limited edition that's parked outside, plus a membership to the country club, and an invitation for you all to spend New Year's Eve on board my new yacht in the Riviera. What was it you said you had become? Says Dad. Girl crying again. A prostitute, Daddy? Oh my goodness, you scared me half to death. I thought you said a Protestant. Come here and give your old dad a hug. A little girl says to her mother, Mommy, when you were away at work, a strange lady came around. Not now, says Mom. Wait until Daddy gets home. The dad gets home and Mom says, Now, dear, what were you saying about Daddy and the strange lady? The dad starts to say something, but Mom says, You keep quiet. I'll be talking to my attorney in the morning. Carry on, dear. Well, says the little girl, Daddy told me to stay downstairs while they went upstairs, but I followed them, and I saw them hugging and kissing. Then they went into your bedroom and shut the door, but I went up and looked through the keyhole. Clever girl, purrs Mummy. What could you see through the keyhole? The little girl says, I saw them hugging and kissing some more, and then they started taking off their clothes until they had nothing on, and then the lady got on the bed and Daddy got on top of her. Yes, says Mom. And then what happened? Then they did what you and Uncle Jack did when Daddy was traveling last year, says the little girl confidently. A lost dog strays into a jungle. A lion sees him from a distance and says with caution, This guy looks edible, never seen his kind before. So the lion starts rushing towards the dog with menace. The dog notices and starts to panic, but as he's about to run, he sees some bones next to him and gets an idea and says loudly, That was some good lion meat. The lion abruptly stops and says, Whoa, this guy seems tougher than he looks. I better leave while I can. Over by the treetop, a monkey witnessed everything. Realizing he can benefit from the situation, he proceeds to tell the lion what really happened. The lion angrily replies, Get on my back. We'll get him together. So they start rushing back to the dog. The dog, realizing what happened, starts to panic even more. He then gets another idea and shouts, Where the hell is that monkey? I told him to bring me another lion an hour ago. A pretended marriage. A man and woman who had never met before but were both married to other people found themselves assigned to the same sleeping compartment on a transcontinental train. Though initially embarrassed and uneasy over sharing a room, they were both very tired and fell asleep quickly, the man in the upper berth and the woman in the lower one. At 1 a.m., the man leaned down and gently woke the woman, saying, Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you, but would you be willing to reach into the closet and get me a blanket? I'm awfully cold. I have a better idea, she replied. Just for tonight, let's pretend that we're married. Wow, that's a great idea, he exclaimed. Good, she replied. Get your own fucking blanket. After a moment of silence, he farted.